Okay, so we've just finished creating our MySQL instance. So now we have our server running. We know it's running because the status has been set to available. We see the nice little green check. You may have noticed that before it could have said creating, initializing, something to that effect, but it was gray. Once it transitions from that gray line that's here, it's going to transition to something that says backup, meaning that it's backing up the instance that it just created, and then eventually it will say available. Well, available means that the database is ready to connect to. It's available for us to start importing data and start doing stuff to it. But you can also look at all the different databases that you've created under your AWS Educate account by going on this left-hand panel to click databases here. And then, so here you'll see all of the database instances that you have. It could be running, could be disabled, can be whatever. But this is all these. This is a listing of all the databases that you have. I have two databases actually. One's called Big Data, and the other one that we just created is Big Data 1. This is the one that we're going to be connecting to. We know that's available because here under the status it says available. If something happened, maybe it was backing up or something, the status would change here. But because we know that this is available, we can now connect to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back into that view by clicking Big Data 1. Have Big Data 1, just double check, make sure everything is right, the region is good, okay? But we want to connect to it via a client, a MySQL client. We've used HeidiSQL before for Windows. There are other SQL clients for Macs and Linux, but because right now I'm on a Windows machine, I'm going to use HeidiSQL. But the last thing that I need from this view is to get this endpoint, or also known as the host name of the database. So I'm going to just go ahead and copy this, and I'm going to note that the port is 3306. So I'm going to connect to this address, this host name, at this port. And I'm going to open up HeidiSQL, and I'm going to create a brand new connection. I'm going to call it AWS Big Data 1. And then I'm going to make sure that the network type is MySQL TCP/IP, because we're going to be connecting to it via the internet. The host name, or the IP, is that long name that we just copied. I'm not going to do prompt for credentials because I know it. It was Big Data was the username, and then I had a password there. Okay, and then to double check that the port matches the port there, and then I'm going to press open. It's going to ask me if I want to save. I'm going to say yes, please save it. Awesome, we were able to connect to the instance that we just created, and you see here is the database name that we just created. And if I wanted to, I can add tables, create new table, do whatever. This is just like what we've covered in the data warehousing course. So that's it. That's how do you create a database using AWS, a MySQL database, and then how to connect to it via HeidiSQL and getting that host name.